Hey guys, before we get into this message, let's recap a little bit. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about the telescope and how we need to see where God is leading. It should not just be an A to B. We need to see every part in our lives. Like how a telescope is made. It's composed of so many things. And it's not just one project all together. It's like somebody had to construct this instrument that we're using to look at the stars, right? And it's important for us to view that in our own lives, how God is putting us in different seasons that connects to the next season, right? And if we cannot jump forward throughout the telescope and rush the process, if we do that, it'll be a broken piece. So we have to take our time, trust God's process, right? And last week we talked about what it means to live on purpose. And that goes alongside with the telescope, and where we should not defer the responsibility. If God gave us a purpose for life, He was like, hey, you can do this. We should not let anybody else make us feel lesser than, right? And that goes with the telescope because it'll make us feel like, man, like I should be in this area right now because this person says so. Or we might feel like, man, I shouldn't be here because they are putting me down, like I'm not getting the response I need. And we got to remember, it's not about us, it's about God. You know what I'm saying? Living on purpose. And this week I feel that it's important to talk about this because the topic of this week, as you see in the title, it's the time is now, right? And you might be wondering why I'm on this basketball court. You see this? You might be wondering. I'm back. You might be wondering. So it was this athlete, you know, many of you know him, many of you wear his shoes. He goes by the name of MJ, Michael Jordan. You know, Michael, I believe his middle name is Jeffrey. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jordan. And he always knew when it was time, right? And for him, it was all throughout the game, off season, all of that. Like even now, like he's Mike. He knew when it was time to step up. When nobody else was, he knew how to go to the next gears. He knew how to push people forward. So I want you guys to watch this video, and then we'll be right back.
11, 10. Jordan a drive, hangs, fires, scores! He scores! The Bulls lead 87-86. Oh my goodness!
He's unbelievable.
Oh my goodness!
So as you see in that video, Byron Russell trying to guard Mike. It's impossible. Mike did a little push off, but as he explained in the last dance, like he was already going that way. It wasn't really a push. It was just a move aside, right? And then he took that shot. And a lot of times we see different athletes that's shying away from those opportunities, right? Like, and if you guys see this postseason this year, the 76ers, that happened with Ben Simmons. He had a wide open layup and he decided to pass it. He decided to pass it, and he only scored like he was 100% in his field goals in the playoffs. I mean, in that series, because he only took like 12 shots or something like that. The last game he scored like 4 or 5 points. That's crazy, right? And like you should not, you should not use him as your example for your life. You should focus on Mike because it's like he was ready to take the shot. He was ready to step forward. So for me, it's like I worked too hard to get where I am for somebody to say, hey, you can't do this. You know, you're not qualified, you're overqualified, you can't have this position. Like, no, like I worked too hard. Like I'm working harder than a lot of people. Like I might be at the lowest, like, you know, I might not be paid the most or whatever that might be, but it's like I worked too hard for this. You know, for me not to take the shot. If I fall short, okay, I can get back up. And we need people in our lives that are pushing us forward. And my last example is this. It's a crazy example. If you guys ever watched the food eating contest, I forgot the name of it. Nathan's food eating contest. It's in New York. So it's two guys that I grew up watching this. I never did it myself, but it's Takura Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut. So I just watched a documentary about it, and Kobayashi was saying that he was glad that Chestnut was there because he needed the competition. Like, he was like, man, finally I have a competitor. All these other people are not doing it for me. So and then Joey went on to like beat him in like different like events, but that was like always like, hey, he needed that competition. And for us, sometimes we're not trying to take those shots because we don't have those people pushing us forward. Like with Mike, he had Scotty, he had Dennis Rodman, he had Tony, he had Steve Kerr, he had people on his team that were ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was ready. He was like, hey Steve, like I'm a dish it to you. Are you ready? And he was like, yeah, I am. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to build your team in such a way that you know you can take the shot and you can count on other people to take their shots as well. So this lesson, man, it was a good one. Cause it's, hey, are you ready? It's time. It's time, baby. Like, look, like ice on your wrist, ice, like D'Angelo Russell, ice, D-Lo, loading, ice on your wrist. You know what I'm saying? It's time to now take your shot. If you miss, hey, shooters, they keep shooting. So next week I'm gonna see you at the same time at 7 o'clock. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about yet, but I'm gonna be there. And then on Saturday is my birthday, next week on the 17th. So make sure you wish me a happy birthday and give me roses too. So I'll see you guys soon. Remember, the time is now. Take your shots. Live on purpose. And you know, remember your telescope, baby. Come on now. I'll see y'all next week.